Dun 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 dun! And this wraps up everything that I know about the Super Bowl and or football in general.
Spazzy.
And in other news in the wide world of sports, the Super Bowl is on Sunday. Our top story tonight, I know absolutely nothing about the Super Bowl. That said, I did some research online and came up with an article from the New York Times, all about pigskin. I'm gonna use my regular voice now. And I quoteth from the New York Times article. The term pigskin comes from an archaic English sport called mob football, or for the more academically minded, medieval football. The basic premise was to take an inflated pig's bladder and move it from one town to the other, with some rollicking villagers occasionally punting the bladder on top of the balcony of an opponent's church. The rest with some help from enterprising people like Charles Goodyear, who developed vulcanized rubber, is history. It explains why Charles Goodyear likes to ride around in blimps all the time. Because he's a Vulcan, like from Star Trek. And they rode around in a spaceship. Spock rode around in a spaceship a lot. I'm such a nerd. Vulcans. So the rest of the article goes on to talk about how pigskins evolved into the food commonly known as pigskin or pork rinds. Basically, a heart attack in a bag. There's also a recipe at the end of the article how to make your own pigskin. I considered making it for you guys and then chronicling this in my video, but it takes 5 hours and I'm a vegetarian, so it's not really worth it to do that at all. I skimmed the latter part of said article, mostly because it was kind of making me nauseous to have to read it. You can read it, link in the doobly-doo. Bam! Bam! Doobly-doo. Mostly when I watch the Super Bowl, and I think like all other artistically minded people, I'm not watching it for the game, I'm watching it for the commercials. Because usually you don't really care who's playing unless you're like super into football, and I'm not into football at all. Which is kind of blasphemy considering where I go to college. Yeah, so what's up with the whole commercial controversy thing? Free speech in America is, you know, anybody with an idea, so here's me, I have an idea. I want to talk about it. I should be allowed to do that. Freedom of the press, freedom of speech, la 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 la. Whatever idea you have, you should be able to express it in this country. It's not really being open-minded if you are not opening your mind to other ways of thought, even if you don't agree with them. I think people have it in their heads that if something airs on television, automatically they're going to be brainwashed into thinking that way. Kind of explain why I've believed everything that every cereal company has ever told me. Tricks are for kids. They're always after me, Lucky Charms. And I am cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Use Verizon, that's the best network. AT&T's the best. Verizon. AT&T. T-Mobile. Now, speaking of said side notes, my friend Dan has a new episode of his news show. Bam! Bam! Doobly-doo. So check it out, and you will be laughing your pigskins off. So when you're watching the Super Bowl tomorrow, make sure you stay away from the pigskins. Always read the directions before you inflate your pig's bladder. You wouldn't want to accidentally suck in any of the innards of said bladder. Ew. Mute all of the commercials, because otherwise you will be forced into the ways of thinking of all the major companies that are running through the Super Bowl ads. You might be enticed into thinking that Donato's is way better than Pizza Hut. Not. Or that Budweiser is the best beer in America because they feature Clydesdales and Dalmatians. That one might actually have some validity to it. I forgot to do a catchphrase today. Happy top of the February 7th to ya. That was my Irish voice, in case you didn't pick that up. Very similar to my newspaper Boston accent voice, except not at all.